As a mom, I know an idea of who I want to become. I know that there's a big gap in my character and in my behavior and my actions and how I want to be acting and behaving and the type of character I want to have, the type of person I want to be. And I didn't think there was such a big gap until I was spending day in, day out, 24/7 with people in my life, constantly doing emotional bank accounts, deposits, and withdrawals, and just discovering how human I really am. And to help me in my effort of closing that gap, I have created a personal life philosophy. So today we're going to talk about what a personal life philosophy is, why each of us need one, how it can help us in our quest of becoming who we want to become, and then also just figuring out how you're going to use it, where you're going to put it, how it's not going to get lost, so that you can be really effective in reviewing it anytime you need to.
Hi, I'm Jessica Jackson, and this is the new way to thrive in motherhood by leaning into who you are, what you love, your unique family situation, and personal mission to create a life that you actually want to live. I want to invite you to join me in saying no to the life of the exhausted supermom, burnout, victim thinking, being pulled in so many directions, suffering through survival mode, or being lost in motherhood, and say yes to building strong families and moving forward on our greatest goals in order to create a fulfilling life that we are excited to wake up to each day and become a soaring mother. This is the Thriving in Motherhood podcast.
In just a short time, we will be releasing the Surviving to Thriving Toolkit. This is my complete systems, ideas, tips, tricks for every phase along the 5-step path from surviving to thriving. If you want to be the first to know about it, you can go to thrivinginmotherhoodpodcast.com/toolkit and join the waitlist so that you will not miss the notification of when the doors are opening for this to be released. As I mentioned, there's a gap between who I am and who I want to become. There probably always will be. And one of my favorite tools that I've started using this year is a personal life philosophy. Now, the idea here is that it's a collection of the best ideas, thoughts, inspiration that helps me specifically in the quest of becoming who I want to become. And creating a spot to remind myself daily, or at the very least weekly, how I want to be navigating my life, how I want to be making my decisions, how I want to be showing up for my family and the people around me and friends and beyond, and you, okay? So it's a wonderful place to just collect these thoughts. Now, I have collected these thoughts over the years and they just end up so scattered and it's not really an effective system. And so I wanted a way to organize not every scripture I like and every quote that I like and every thought that I like, but a very curated list with the intention of helping me remember this quest that I'm on in my own journey of becoming the person I want to be. So it's a very simple document, and this year we've included it in the Thriving in Motherhood Planner. So if you want to have it in a paper form, as part of the business section this year, you have your vision, things you want to do, and personal life philosophy, who you want to become. So this is a great spot to record things in a number of different categories. We've got, I recommend putting in your life mission statement. And if you want to help figuring out where I would possibly put that together, there's 2 really great resources for you that would guide you through that process. So one would be 7 Habits of Highly Effective People by Stephen Covey. The other one is Living Forward by Michael Hyatt. He wrote it with the kind of mindset of entrepreneurs, CEOs that want to win at work and succeed at life. That's kind of his tagline. But it's really effective for all of us who just want to be really intentional with what type of life we want to live. So life mission statement, super helpful. The next area that I have is goals of home. Like this is, I guess, a mission statement for my family. I don't know, but kind of how do I want my family culture to be? How do I want our home to be running, feeling, all the ideas surrounding home. How do I want to parent? How do I want to show up for my kids, especially as they're getting older? Now I've got kids from the little stage up to the, we're hitting teenager stage now and mentoring them in the older years versus doing life with them so closely in the early years. And so just describing who I want to be as a person and a parent and a mom is really important for me in that area, as well as the family culture at large. And then we've got guiding principles. So these are little phrases, quotes, ideas that really help me remember how I want to navigate my life and how I want to make decisions. So for example, look to God and live. Story right out of the Bible of the children of Israel that were wandering around, were getting bitten by serpents, and they could have just looked at the cross with the brass serpent and they would have been healed. And I think so often I'm like them where it's so simple, it's so easy, the solution could be easy, but I don't, right? So it's a good reminder of, okay, I want to look to God and live. So then my next section here is thriving thoughts that I want to include. I've talked a lot about these. I've got a whole module in Win Your Week Academy, or in the toolkit actually is what it's going to be, in the toolkit of how to create these thriving thoughts. But in a nutshell, the idea is that as you go about your day, you'll start to capture your thoughts, your ideas, the things that you're thinking about. And for me, when I'm frustrated or angry, as I capture these thoughts, it helps me realize what I'm thinking and why it's creating the emotion that I'm feeling. So for example, when I had 3 little kids at home, I just was thinking over and over again, I don't like this. I don't like this. I don't like this. I don't like this. I just really didn't want to be there. And by saying I don't like this, it kind of created this illusion of I could leave, but I can't. And so the new thought, this new thriving thought that I have was, this is exactly where I need to be right now. And when I replace the I don't like this with this is exactly where I need to be right now, it puts me into a more leadership role. I'm not a victim. I'm choosing to stay here. I'm choosing to be engaged. I'm choosing to figure out the next right thing to do in that moment. So that thought is really helpful for me. Or there were months where we were trying to have children get pregnant and it wasn't happening. And I was starting to feel really discouraged because I had this idea we'd have all of these kids really close together and we'd have this really big family. And it didn't seem to be happening that way. And I realized, okay, I can't control the number of kids that I'm having, but I can create a strong family culture. And it gave me something to focus on that was in my circle of influence instead of focusing on this thing in my circle of concern that I'm limited into how much control I have there. And so that, again, it just, when you have these thoughts, when you shift, it just immediately for me like removes the suffering. It's wonderful. And so I wanted a spot to remember those because I've had lots over the years. And again, they're scattered in notebooks and journals. And so I wanted a spot to collect all of those. And then the last area that I have in my personal life philosophy is favorite quotes or scriptures. So for me, again, these aren't every quote or scripture that I love, but it's the ones that are very specifically helping me in the current season I'm in and the challenges that I'm having and in the becoming the person I want to be. And so it's a really helpful way just to curate all of these ideas into one place. So I've already shared with you, you can use this Thriving in Motherhood journal to capture all of these thoughts and ideas. If you want to use a piece of paper, you can. But I'm also going to go over and show you what it looks like in Notion. So I've started using Notion, which is totally free. You can just go to notion.so or just type in Notion in Google and create a free account. And then you can get access to this the personal life philosophy template that I have created and designed that you can modify yourself to include your own mission statement, guiding principles, thriving thoughts, goals for your home, and favorite culture scriptures. And I include a very detailed tutorial walking you through step by step, not just how to fill this out, but how to make any changes or modifications that you want and the different shortcuts in Notion so that you're not going to be lost. You're like, I don't know how to use this program. I teach you how to do it. My training in college was software classes. I taught students, faculty, and staff how to use Microsoft and Adobe products. So software training is my jam, and I'm super excited to have found a way to get back there just in this small little way to help you if you would like use these tools as well. So I will cut over and just quick show you a walkthrough what this template looks like over on the screen so you can see all the different areas here. You're going to be able to see that it's got the mission statement, goals of the home, guiding principles, thriving thoughts, favorite culture scriptures here all laid out in a simple format. And then it also includes a explanation video, and I just embedded it directly into that page so that you can see it when you are done with it or you don't want it. You can delete it, but that way you are not left high and dry. You have me right there every step of the way. And you can also see that there is a give feedback link so that if you have any questions or things aren't working or you have suggestions of how you want this template modified, you can click on it directly and it'll take you to a Google form and I will get that information so that this can be a continually improved situation as needed if you get stuck. So I hope, Kate, so the action step from today is go start creating your personal life philosophy, whether you're putting it in the 2025 Thriving in Motherhood Planner, whether you go buy the Notion template and start filling that out, whether you grab a piece of paper or you put it in the front of a journal or you pick a notebook, but you find a spot, you choose intentionally one spot where all of these ideas are going to go instead of having them scattered throughout, so that you now have a system for becoming the person that you want to become. So I hope that this just inspires you to take some action, especially as we're going into the holiday season. I know it feels like a time when you're like, there's not space for me here. There's so much going on. But just taking, 20 minutes to download this template and start to plop in your rough draft ideas, your initial thoughts of these areas of your life is something that you can do that's yours, that's moving you forward, that's a leveraged task, that's something that is totally yours. It doesn't take a lot of time, doesn't have to take a ton of energy, isn't something that you have to totally complete, but it is something that you can carve out for you and feel like you're doing something for you within the walls of your own home without having to do anything crazy during this holiday season, because I think a lot of times we feel lost, and this is a simple thing that you can do to kind of reclaim just a little bit of yourself, a little bit of space to feel like you're making progress on something that really matters. So have a wonderful week, and I'm excited to talk with you again next week.
Where you are planted, watch the blossoms grow.